Hello friends, it's time for the 5th Sunday Craft with Friends. I have two amazing friends crafting with us today. Sammie from Unicorn Dust Designs and Favi from Arrows DIY. We're gonna craft with the exact same items and you're gonna see how differently we create with them. How fun is that? Let's get started. All three of us will have two of these triangles, all identical, wood, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with mine. I'm going to add some spindles, surprise, surprise, and a little wood round to both of mine. One of them will have that set up and the other one will have this set up. The first one I'm going to use some aged gray paint by Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to paint the entire thing, and I used a little bit of Old School by DIY, and I just dusted the edges with it, and I didn't paint the backside because we're going to cover it up. I'm going to use IOD Winter Adornment Stamp with some black ink, and I just chose this beautiful Christmas floral from this collection. I'm just going to ink it up with the black ink and put it on my Christmas tree. I'm going to make Christmas trees. What else would we make with triangles? I'm really excited to see what the other girls are going to make with the triangles. Favi texted me and said, really, how can we all make these different? We all know what we're going to make with them. And I said, oh, just be creative. But we'll see if someone does something different besides a Christmas tree. This time of year, anytime we see a triangle, it just becomes a Christmas tree. So I just filled in all the spaces with that beautiful stamp. Then I'm going to be diligent to clean my stamps with a wet wipe and dry it off before I put it away because they are pricey and I want to take care of it. Now, I bought this old cable knit sweater at the thrift store because this is my decor for Christmas. I use sweater to make it look wintry, and I have some sleds and some ice skates, and so I thought this would look cute on one of these trees. I also have in my entryway a variety of Christmas trees in all different designs, and they're not even all the same, what do you call it, genre of decor. But they're on my entryway table at Christmas, and I just love it. It's very eclectic. So I'll be adding these to that. Okay, so I'm going to just glue this sweater loosely. I'm not going to pull it tightly because I want it to, I want it to look loose and like the tree is wearing a sweater. Okay, your girl is a dork. Yes, I am. Okay, then I'm just going to trim the excess off. I'm going to try to find the right pair of scissors. I got these little ones because they were a little bit, the blades were a little smaller. I could get a little closer, but I guess some of that hot glue seeped out and it was a little difficult. So I kept switching back and forth with my scissors until I just got it all trimmed off, and it worked great. And then I took a little hot glue and put it back in the edges so it wouldn't fray, and make sure it was all glued down nice and tightly. And this one turned out so cute. Now for the stand, I'm going to use that same little, I'm going to stamp the sides. I'll show you just one side that I'm going to use that same stamp, just little pieces of it to stamp down the sides. I guess I'm really showing you how I'm repairing those edges. Here we go. Now the sides needed something. So I'm going to take that stamp and just little pieces of it. I'm going to just put a little bit of that stamp on the sides. I now did both sides. There we go. And I did seal this with clear wax. I don't know if I got that on camera. I don't remember. But I did clear it with, I sealed it with clear wax. Now I'm going to use my little dowel rod method and make a hole in the spindle. That's what that thing's called. And a hole in the bottom of my tree. And the same thing with the wood round. Actually, I think I may have just glued the wood round and the dowel. I can't remember. But there we go. We made our little stand. Then I decided the tree needed something. Well, I thought I wanted it to have something. So I tried these little pit berries, and it just wasn't happening for me. I tried it. No, didn't happen. I thought, well, I'll take some twine. This looks kind of rustic, and I'll just wrap some twine around it to make it look, nah, that wasn't working for me either.
Couldn't make it happen. So I ended up wrapping that around the base of the triangle where the triangle and the spindle meet. And I didn't do anything to the spindle. When I cut the spindle, I sanded it down a little bit to, you know, kind of get all the old dirt and grime off of it and washed it up. And that's all I did to that little piece of a chair leg. And I'm going to just wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap that twine around there until I get it as thick as I want it. And then I just glued it a little bit with the hot glue. Then I thought, well, I'm going to put a twine bow. I made a little finger bow. And I was like, well, I put it at the top. Do I put it in the middle? Do I put it at the base of the tree? Nope, wasn't feeling that either. I'm just showing y'all how real it is when we create. You know, we just edit and show you the good parts. But I did find this ribbon that I had from Joann's, and it's kind of a gray burlap ribbon. And so I thought it was perfect. So here you see me making a finger bow. I like to make finger bows because both of the tails end up coming out the same way. When I make awareness bows, I love to make them because they're so simple, but both of my little tails don't come out the same way, and it drives me crazy. So I find that this makes the cutest little bow, and it's so simple. So I'm going to put a little hot glue there and glue my bow down. And voila, look how pretty. But then I decided the other side needed a bow too. So I made a tiny little twine bow and put it in the same place. And this tree is finished. I'm going to reveal both of them at the same time at the end. Now the next one, I'm going to take weathered wood and water it down just a little bit and a sponge. And I'm going to just wipe it on there really good and then let it dry. Let it dry completely. Maybe I wiped some of it back. I can't remember. Let's see if I show you. If I didn't show you, then maybe I didn't. But I did both sides. Both sides are going to be stained wood. I don't think I did. I think I just dried it down. So I'm using my heat gun to dry it, and then I let it air dry a little bit while I do some other things so that it's nice and dry for my next step. I did put a little weathered wood on that wood round, and I decided I didn't like it, so I just put some white wax on both sides of that little wood round. I'm going to use some Big Top to seal in this side of my little wood tree, and I'm going to use this IOD transfer that is absolutely gorgeous. It's from the last year's Christmas collection, and I think it's the Candy Cane Cottage collection. And I get all of my IOD and DIY. I get all of my IOD DIY and Saltwash products from Sammie over at unicorndustdesigns.com. Please go check out her website. It's always linked in my description box below. You can just go down there, hit the link, and it'll take you right to her website. She is also one of my friends in this collab today. You do not want to miss. I cannot wait to see what she is going to do with these little wooden triangles and the other items that we have to recreate. Now, I'm going to take some of this wood that I got from my friend's house, Myra, from over at Farm Fresh Design 59. I went to visit her in North Carolina back in September, and we picked up some wood off the ground, and we took a few pieces off the tree, but the tree was not harmed. It still had plenty of bark. It's like giving someone a haircut. It grows back, and then I'm just going to glue all this down. Now, my friend Favi, you know, she is also in this collab. I know both of them personally. We talk on Marco Polo almost daily, and we have just really gotten to know each other, and I love these gals with all my heart. I feel like, I'm old enough to be their mom, but they still want to hang out with me. I love it. And so I can't wait to see how creative they got with these items or how simple they kept it. You know, all creations do not have to be elaborate. Simple creations are just as beautiful as elaborate ones. So I decided to wrap a little bit of twine around a couple places on that spindle. I didn't want to make this video 2 hours long, so I just went ahead and wrapped it. You saw me wrap it on the other one, so you don't need instructions on how to wrap twine around a spindle. So I did that, and then I just took a few little scraps of canvas drop cloth, and I'm just making a little shabby bow to put on this tree. Now, one of the items that we are required to use are mini pine cones. So I'm just going to glue my little mini pine cones in the center of my bow because, well, I thought it was fitting that the pine cones went with the tree. This was not a pine tree that this bark came off of, but we don't care, do we? I think this turned out adorable. Now I'm just going to fray the edges of that bow just a little bit, and here are the finished trees. Two-sided. Do you like two-sided projects? Let me know that in the comments below. I've mentioned this a couple of times already in this video, but this is the 5th Sunday Craft with Friends. I started this at the beginning of the year, and every 5th Sunday I invite a couple of friends to come along and craft with me. We take the exact same items and see how we create them differently. Put our own spin on them. It has been so much fun, and I've enjoyed it so much. I look forward to doing this many more times in the future with many more friends. Enjoy. I'd like to take this time to introduce myself in case you're new to my channel. My name is Kendra, and you're watching Late Night Creations, and I love to do all things wood, spindles, upcycles, just makeover old tired decor. And if you like that kind of stuff, make sure that you're subscribed, you hit that bell notification so that you don't miss a thing. Let's get back to crafting now. The next item that we were to use was the O Christmas tree mold by IOD. And so there's a Christmas tree, and there's little border pieces, and there's a star. And then I have this block of wood that was a piece of a cabinet door that I cut down. And I'm just going to use some scrap wood and some crushed velvet material, some white paint, and some black paint. I'm going to paint the piece of wood black, the back side, and all 4 sides. And the little block that I'm going to use to help the piece of wood stand up. And then we are going to wax it with clear wax to seal that black paint. And I'm telling you, it is just beautiful. And then I'm going to take my velvet, and I'm going to act like I'm wrapping a present, but I'm not going to wrap it all the way around the back. I'm just going to use that same kind of method to wrap. I'm going to make sure that it fits good. I'm going to put some Type On Quick and Thick on the front. This is the front. This is the raw wood that I did not paint. And I'm going to lay it down on the back side of the fabric. Then I'm just going to press it really good and wipe it down really good where that glue soaks into the fabric. I could actually feel it be a little bit moist in there. And that's what I wanted. And then now I'm going to just wrap this around and secure it down. It really wanted to roll up on me, so it was a little bit of a struggle on that end, but this was very easy. Just rolled it around, wrapped it down, and hot glued it. And then I took my staple gun and put some staples. Make sure that I'm using it right. The staple gun is a little odd where the staples come out. It feels like they should come out the other end. Stapled them down, making this very secure, and I'll do that on all 4 sides. I'm going to take a white linen by Rust-Oleum and a chippy brush, and I'm just going to pounce all that white paint in all of the little crevices and the nooks and the crannies on this Christmas tree. This Christmas tree is so beautiful. It's thin. You can see here it's thin. I'm going to make sure I get the edges painted, and I do all of the pieces. I did 4 of the edge pieces with that. Now, I tried this acrylic metallic paint, and I was going to just dry brush it over the top and then use a little bit of that rub and buff, but I did not like how this was working. I tried it, and it wasn't shiny enough. It wasn't, I don't know, something just wasn't right about it. I did not like it. So I got the rub and buff and just used my finger. Oh, first I wanted to do the star. I did have intentions the entire time to do the star completely silver. So I did paint it white because this resin that I was using, I don't know if it was kind of old or what, but it turned very yellow. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I'm going to use the rub and buff all over this with my finger, just rubbing it gently. And it took a little while because this is a big piece, but I just worked it around and hit it so you could see like there's ornaments, there's branches, they're not leaves. What are they on a pine tree? Needles. There's needles. And these turned out beautiful. I did all the pieces. I'm just showing you that I did the tree and this little edge piece. And the berries just popped and you could see the little tiny branches in there. It just turned out beautiful. It's just shining. Shiny things like we should let our light shine for Jesus. If Jesus has done something for you, you should let your light shine for him. Even if he hasn't done, he has done something for you. You just haven't looked hard enough. He died on the cross for you for number one. So we should let our light shine like that star there. The star that led the shepherds to the birth of Jesus. Well, I had this beautiful shiny, speaking of shine, I had this beautiful shiny glittery ribbon that I thought looked beautiful against that black fabric. I was trying to find some way to use it, and I thought, well, I'll just put it across the middle where those two don't meet, those two border pieces don't meet, and then I'll just lay the tree on top of it. Well, I didn't like that either. I had a lot of experimental in this video. I'm showing you a lot of my experimental. I do this all the time, but I'm just leaving a lot of that footage in for you today. You're welcome. And then I measured to find the center because I want my star right in the center. And then I just glued it down with a little hot glue. And this hot glue is going to hold these resin pieces right to this fabric really good. And I just use the Fabricast resin where you mix equal parts of A and B together and pour it in the mold, and it sets up super quick. And I'm just using, hot glue to adhere it to this piece, and it turns out so pretty. And this is one of those simple but elegant, beautiful decor pieces for Christmas. Simple to make. I love it. Let me know what you think about this one. I cannot wait to see what the other girls did with their Christmas tree mold. Our last item to use was a thrifted candlestick. I got this at Goodwill for $1.21. What a steal. It's solid wood. It was made in India. I'm going to use Marquee. It's a beautiful red by DIY, and I'm going to paint this entire piece with a coat and a half. One coat, and then I went back over it in a few places. I'm going to use weathered wood and aviary, and I'm going to make it very splotchy. I'm going to put weathered wood in some places, and I'm going to feather out the edges. Don't ask me why I did this technique. This is just what felt like I needed to do. So I'm going to do it, and then I don't know if I'm going to show you or not. I'm going to go in fast motion because I don't really think we need to see all the painting, but this was kind of a little different, something that I do on my channel. So you can see I'm kind of like swiping it and kind of feathering the edges out where it's not like a stark start and stop of the paint color. No worries, we're not going to leave it camouflage looking, okay? It turns out great in the end. I'm going to bring you good, beautiful DIYs on here. Let me find my words, okay? Let me find my words today. I'm going to dry it with my heat gun because it was nighttime and the bugs were swarming the porch, so I couldn't put it outside to dry. Then I took the aviary and I did the exact same thing in places, and then I left some spots red. Okay, then we're going to take our Elmer school glue, just plain old regular Elmer school glue, and I put it in a little container so it's easier to manage. And I'm going to glob it on. I smooth it out, but I put some thick thicker in places, thinner in places, because we're going to do the crackle method with the Elmer School glue. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever done the crackle method with the school glue or what your preferred method is. Now with this, you can only swipe one time. You do it while the glue is wet. And I'm working in sections of this candlestick. I'm only doing that lower section. So I get quite a bit of paint on my brush, so I can just swipe it one time. See, I'm just swiping around one time. Sometimes I like lightly swipe over if I miss a spot. Like right there, I just lightly did a little swipe, but you really, if you go back over it, it's already starting to crackle, and it'll mess that crackle up if you swipe over it again. So then I'm going to swipe up and down all around, and then I'm going to take my heat gun, because the heat gun will make the crackle bigger. It makes it bigger. So, and I wanted to also create a little bit of bubble, because you'll see shortly what I do with those bubbles. But where it bubbles, I'm going to take my little spatula and I'm going to scratch it. I'm going to scratch those bubbles off, because I want it to look like the paint wore off or chipped off or whatever. See there? And then you can see the green, you can see the red, you can see some brown. So it looks like layers of paint. Someone painted this thing a bunch of times. And then I'm going to wet distress just a little bit around the edges to kind of smooth it. Well, I made that one a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And then it's kind of those happy accidents. I ended up liking it. And then I take the sandpaper and I kind of sand around it so, you know, it looks old. It doesn't look like, oh, there's just a chip here where it shouldn't be chipped. And I took my little finger sander. If you don't have a finger sander, grab you one. They're not that expensive, and they work amazing. They're so easy. And then I took the finger sander and I just sanded down a few places where it would look like, you know, it would be worn, the places that would be touched a lot, or if it had been moved around a lot, it would get rubbed on. So then I wiped it down good. Oh yeah, I wanted a little green, so I was rubbing real easy right there. So then I wiped it down really good, and I clear waxed it. I did not show you the clear wax, but I did clear wax this piece. Even though I used the chalk paint from Rust-Oleum, it doesn't have to be sealed, but I like to seal it, because I just want to seal it in. Now I'm going to use this red burlap ribbon I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fold it in half so that it fits around the neck of this candlestick. And I'm going to glue it down. Then I'm going to, what am I doing next? I'm going to make a bow. Nope, I'm going to use these bells. The other thing was we were supposed to use bells. That was another required embellishment. And so, jing-a-ling-a-ling-a, I had those bells. They're all rusty crusty, and I love them. So I'm going to take a piece of this burlap ribbon, and I'm just going to rip it all apart, because I want those shreds. I want those strings. And so I just took that whole piece apart. It was kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. It was fun. It was very satisfying to rip that apart. Now I'm going to get all the long strands. I saved those short ones because I thought maybe I'll use them for something. And I'm going to wrap them around a dowel stick. I dampened it a little bit, and I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. It was a little tricky because, yeah, it was just a little tricky. I didn't want them curly, but I wanted them to have a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to, it's so hard to get large projects in my camera where my camera setup is. I tied those bells going downward in a cascade motion on one piece of twine. I just tied them at intervals going down. And so now I'm going to put all those strings together at the top, and I'm going to glue them to that burlap. And then I'm going to glue the top of that little piece of twine that my bells are hanging on right there. And then we're going to put this bow. I did end up making the bow a little smaller. I thought the bow was too big, so I ended up making it a little smaller later. And then this little wood star came from Dollar Tree. And this is how she turned out.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will join my other friends and watch their videos as well. Be sure to drop a comment and let me know which was your favorite, or if you had a favorite. Maybe you liked them all. I know I did. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.